Can you just pop George up one more second? I feel like we haven't looked at that, and I just want to see what's...
Absolutely here. Let's get it up. All right. That margin just over 1,000 votes. And again,
unbelievable.
Just so you know, we think there's 8,000 vote by mails out there, approximately, maybe less. We think there's a maximum of another 8,000 military ballots and overseas ballots that have to be in. I don't know if it's 5 p.m. today, but have to arrive today. Yeah. I assume 5 p.m. most states, that's when they end their day. It's 5 p.m., a business day. That we don't think there's going to be all 8,000. One projection I saw said, you know, don't be surprised if it's less than half of the 8,000 ballots that get returned on time. And you can't assume those are all the military and overseas ballots are going to somehow lean one party or the other. This is rank and file military. You don't know if they grew up in Fulton County or if they grew up in a Republican county, right? So you just don't know. The point is, this is margin of error stuff. I think maximum, neither candidate could have a lead more than of maybe 3,000 or 4,000 votes.
But that's recount territory there, isn't
Easily recount territory. Yeah. By the way, the question is, do you ask for the recount if you can't get to 270? So, you know, I don't assume there's going to be a recount here.
Well, except for that, it hasn't every signal been from the Trump campaign is a scorched earth legal strategy.
So just do everything anyway?
Hit it everywhere we can. And I mean, that makes sense. They got to take their shots where they can get them and hope that it all adds up to something.
It does. The only question that I have about that is we're heading for a pair of recounts in Georgia in the Senate races that will likely determine control of the chamber. And so that means there's a lot on the line. If they were to do a recount that were to adjust that race so that, you know, it could go one or the other direction, there's a risk for either candidate in asking for that. And David Perdue, the senator in Georgia, is actually very close to President Trump, so I'm sure that they're talking a lot about it.
But just to be clear, and correct me if I'm wrong, if the president were to pursue a recount in Georgia, that doesn't mean that the Senate races get recounted, too.
Not necessarily. That's right. So all I'm saying is that I think there will be coordination on that, and there will be a major push from Republicans to make sure that the Georgia results are not unnecessarily called into question. That makes sense.
When they do a recount, is it they just put it right back in the machines and run it all through again? Is it like that?
It's a better question for Chuck than for me.
When they do a recount, what do they do?
Well, there's two types of, and this is the other thing. You're going to hear recanvass. And sometimes, you know, you'll get this where they're just going to double check the math. They don't look through all the ballots individually. Yeah. Then you're going to hear a phrase called manual recounts. Okay, there's a recount where you double check the numbers, you double check machines. Each individual machine has a vote total in. You do all of that. You make sure those machines are calibrated. You know, there's that type of recount. And then there could be this next level detail of a recount. And, you know, states store the ballots in case somebody has a recount. And in fact, I saw one of our pictures of the warehouse that's holding all of these ballots. I think it was in Arizona, where after they process them, it's not like they throw the ballots away because, again, you might have to go back through them ballot by ballot. So the point is that there's different flavors of recounts, if you will. There's an extreme hand recount that could take days or weeks, and then which a state is the size of Pennsylvania. I mean, we all went through Florida. That was 3-4 weeks at a time. You had counties struggling to make deadlines that took 10 days to hand recount. Most of those counties didn't hit those deadlines.
Remember the hanging chads?
Yeah, the state of Pennsylvania. The good news is I don't think we have a Chad issue. You have the naked ballot issue on vote by mail, but apparently that turned out not to be a huge problem. I've heard there weren't too many quote-unquote naked ballots
Chuck,
that were returned.
Since it's almost 10:30 on Friday, anything new in North Carolina? Are they counting? Like
no, in fact, what I could basically tell you about North Carolina is they're going to wait till November 12th. It's not clear. There might be, you know, we'll see what the provisionals are. You've got some of these that you can return your ballot, and it can count as long as it returns by November 12th. This is a reminder. Every state has a different set of deadlines. In North Carolina, right? 76,000 votes. 76.
That's pretty big spread.
There may not even be another additional 80,000, but the problem is we don't know that yet.
But behind the scenes, the Democrats are signaling they think North Carolina is lost.
They think North Carolina is lost, and that Tom Tillis, the Republican senator there, will pull it.
That is, I don't see how Tillis, like that, we're the math there.
Pretty much with that.
Biden could shrink the margin to as low as to put it in recount territory, but again, do you ask for a recount if it doesn't have any impact on 270.
Well, you know, we love our 50 states and D.C., and they have 50 different rules for recounts and 50 different deadlines. So
I did have a
democracy.
military veteran friend of mine that says, so basically, if I'm in the military and I live in one state, my voting rights are a bit more expansive than if I live in another state. He's like, that doesn't seem fair. Constitutional law professor?
Well, we're out of time. Let's take a pause right here. We'll reset in a moment. Stand by.